Alright, UFC London is this weekend, and I decided to make a tier list video today talking about the best UK fighters. Now, I only picked 10 or so because I don't want to make the video too long, but if you guys want longer tier list videos, leave a comment down below and I will make more tier list videos. But for now, we're going to start with UK fighters. This is like one of the only tier list videos I think I've done on the channel. Maybe I did another one. I think I might have, but you guys can let me know in the comment section below and remind me, but I believe this might be my first or second one. But yeah, UFC London is this weekend, and it's not the most exciting UFC London that we've had. I mean, compared to other years, and especially when there was rumors of Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards on this card. But regardless, it's whatever. I'm going to be ranking the best UK fighters that are in MMA right now. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. If you guys are new to the channel, the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and let me know what is your favorite fighter from the UK. Boxing, MMA, I don't care, whatever organization, let me know in the comment section below and I will respond to you. Anyway, guys, without further ado, let's just get into this video. Alright, so as you guys can see, I only have just a few fighters. Ignore this one because I just had there for a long story for behind the scenes stuff, aka technical difficulties. But regardless, we have a long list of UK fighters, so let's start. First off, we're gonna go with Darren Till. Obviously, Darren Till recently got cut from the UFC or left the UFC. It's kind of up to debate, but at first he was an undefeated prospect, was a favorite going into that Tyron Woodley fight, lost to Tyron Woodley in the second round via submission, got knocked down, and then after that, pretty much his career has gone downhill except for winning against Kelvin Gastelum. The guy lost at middleweight, moved up in weight, lost again. Last loss to Dricus du Plessis back in December, had tons of injuries, and I am of the opinion that I just think that Tyron Woodley fight really broke Darren Till. I don't think he's a guy that handles loss well. I think once he took that loss, and especially coming back and losing to Masvidal, those two losses I think absolutely shattered his fighting spirit, and I think that's why we haven't really seen such a dedicated Darren Till, and there was no reason for him to go up to middleweight. I felt like that was just a sign of him not being so motivated, not really wanting to cut weight, and he is a good kickboxer, but obviously we saw his takedown defense was extremely lacking despite training with guys like Hamza, and this is one of those things that, like, what if, you know, there was a possibility that he could have beat Tyron Woodley. What if he beat him, and what if he was a champion? Like, would all of this happen anyway? What if he just kept losing anyway? Or did that absolutely just, you know, kill his motivation in a way? I don't know. That's up for you guys to debate. You guys can let me know in the comment section below. But plus all the injuries, and I hate to shit on Darren Till because I don't mind Darren Till, but sadly, I'm gonna have to put him in C tier. The guy did make it to the top. Let's be real. He fought Tyron Woodley, beat Wonder Boy, but outside of that, really didn't have much success at the top anymore. He lost to Masvidal, and let's be honest, Masvidal isn't exactly, you know, a top tier fighter. And yes, that was 2019 Masvidal, but still, I have to put him in C tier. I don't think he's that bad that we could put him in D tier because I do think his kickboxing skills is good, and I think if we matched him up with like a number 15 guy, I think he could possibly get a win against him. I don't think he's like gonna just lose to everybody, but definitely at the top is not where he belongs at the moment. All right, next up is Paddy Pimblett. Obviously, you guys know me and Paddy's history. I have a video about Paddy, my most popular video, what really made a lot of you guys subscribe, so I do have a lot of love for Paddy as well as hate. You know, the video is about me hating Paddy, but at the end of the day, it worked out for me, and me spreading my opinions about Paddy kind of just helped elevate this channel to a new level, so I kind of thank him in a way, but I also don't like him, and I also think that he's very beatable. I think he is not good. Like, I just don't think he's that good. I think if he didn't have popularity, I think he would have just been cut by now. His jiu-jitsu is good, you know, he does have a good ground game. He was a Cage Warriors champion, but we just saw his fight with Jared Gordon, and yes, he was injured going into that fight. I will give him that, and it wasn't like he got dominated from Jared Gordon. It was a relatively close fight. I thought that Jared Gordon won clearly, though. Let's be honest, though, Jared Gordon isn't exactly a top tier competition. Like, I think if Paddy Pimblett goes up against a guy like Bobby Green, a guy with slick boxing, I think he's gonna be in big trouble. I think his stand-up, his defense, serious holes in the game, and plus he's coming back from an injury. But I'm talking about right now in that last performance, guys, I might get some hate, but I'm gonna have to put him in D tier. I can't put him in the same tier as Darren Till. Darren Till has achieved so much more than Paddy Pimblett, so it's not fair for me to put Darren Till in C and then him in D when Paddy Pimblett only has like, what, 3 UFC wins or something like that, maybe 4. It just wouldn't be fair. The guy got rocked on his debut, rocked multiple times in that Jared Gordon fight, and let's be honest, lost the Jared Gordon fight. So as of right now, where his career is, I would put him in D tier. All right, next up is Dan Hardy, most notorious for the stop the fight meme. Stop the fight! Just kidding. Obviously, we know that he was the UFC fighter way before that. Retired some time ago. Now mostly does analysis in MMA. He works for the PFL. Used to work for the UFC, but then got fired. And let's be real, this guy is an old school fighter. Let's be honest. He hasn't fought in like over 10 years, at least in MMA and the UFC. And he did manage to get to the top. He fought GSP. But I just felt like if you look at his career, and I know it was a long time ago, you kind of notice he kind of chokes at the top, like a guy like Carlos Condon, like a guy like GSP, which GSP, of course, is great. I'm not trying to take away who he is as a fighter just because of those losses and because that's impressive competition, but the guy was a total badass in the Octagon. Weirdly enough, he also lost to Anthony Johnson at welterweight. Rest in peace to Anthony Johnson, but what the hell? How did he make welterweight at all in his career? That's still a mystery to me. To me, he was a guy that had really good performances here and there, but sometimes would just choke like I mentioned. And yeah, for that reason, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to put him in the C tier. I don't know. Maybe B? I don't know. It's a close one. I would put him in C tier. I think he's in C tier. Next up, Molly McCann. Now, look, I know a lot of you guys find Molly McCann. I don't necessarily even mind Molly McCann that much. She's kind of like Paddy, but a little bit more down to earth and humble, because I think because she has suffered those losses in the UFC. She's had a tough time in the UFC before. Special grapplers, just suffered a devastating loss to Erin Blanchfield, but as we know, Erin Blanchfield is now a big deal, so that loss doesn't look as bad now. And she is fighting this weekend against a grappler, and I kind of worry for her in this matchup. And yes, we can criticize her. Yes, is she a great fighter, and is she going to be a champion? Probably not, right? But at the same time, her 2 knockouts last year, one coming in the first round, the other coming by out cold KO, spinning elbow. Honestly, it was underrated in talks of best knockout of the year, and really just put her out cold. I remember being shocked as hell watching that when she actually put her out. And yeah, like I said, is she going to, rival Valentina Shevchenko? I don't think so. It makes it a little bit interesting now that Alexa Grasso is the champion, but do I think she's going to beat Alexa Grasso? I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying it is a little bit more interesting of a matchup. And I think most people would agree on that, because obviously Molly McCann does do well in the stand-up, and Alexa Grasso is a stand-up fighter, but regardless, she has a lot of holes in her game, especially with the grappling. And for that reason, I'm gonna put her in D tier, but just above Paddy. I just think, she's a little bit better than Paddy. I think they're both bad in different ways. Like, Molly McCann's good on the stand-up, but bad on the ground, and Paddy's the opposite, right? But I just think that Molly McCann has achieved more in the UFC thus far than Paddy Pimblett by getting that crazy KO. So yeah, that's my opinion. Next up, Jimmy Manua. This is a crazy find. This is a crazy one that I put in there, but ran out of UK fighters. Another guy that kind of did choke when it came to the top of the division. He did have a win against Jan Blachowicz and then lost again. Had a pretty tough end to his MMA career. Like, he's lost to guys like Alexander Gustafsson, but also has pretty good knockouts of Corey Anderson and OSP. And it's sad to see that, his career obviously ended with that crazy head kick knockout from Alexander Rakic, but it just isn't his time anymore. And if we're gonna judge his overall thing, I would say it's pretty mid. And for that reason, I think we just have to put him, I'll put him in the C tier, but I'm kind of in the middle of C and D. Like, I don't know which one to put him in. I would put him in C though, just because he did manage to get to the top. He did knock out some pretty big names, so I'll put him at C tier at the bottom though. And yeah, next up we have the champ, the welterweight champ, the current welterweight champ, Leon Edwards. Now, Leon was the guy that I said, hey, that this guy poses the biggest threat to Kamaru Usman, and obviously, he still managed to knock him out when the altitude was totally against him. He was tired. Then obviously in the rematch, won a decision, I thought pretty clearly. I had it a draw, but at the same time, I think if anyone's gonna win the fight, I gotta give it to Leon, because like I said, it's only a draw because Leon got a point deducted, right? So I agree with the decision. I think Leon won the fight. It was a pretty closely contested fight, but the guy is so well-rounded. I mean, his striking is obviously unbelievable, but we also see him get takedowns. He took down Usman, and some people think like, oh, Colby's just going to be able to just wrestle him. I don't think so. I think Colby's going to win. Like, I don't think Colby's just going to be able to take him down within the first second, in every single round and just control him and ragdoll him. I think it's going to be more likely, he's pushing the pace, pushing him against the cage, a lot of clinching up against the cage, tiring out Leon, making him work constantly, and I think eventually it'll just wear down Leon, and then he'll get a decision. But I think his takedown defense is good enough that I don't think Colby's going to be able to take him down right away. I just think he'll make Leon work a lot. And yeah, I think he has a decent chance against Colby Covington, don't get me wrong, and I think he definitely has a good chance against a lot of the other guys, but I think the guy is really good, and I think if he racks up a few title defenses, he might be getting a lot of recognition, especially being a UK fighter. He's really got to prove himself, but he's not there yet. But either way, I have to put him in C tier. I mean, God, he beat Kamaru Usman, and yes, you could knock him because yes, he did have those 2 years off, came back to fight Bilal Muhammad, do a no contest, then got rocked by Nate Diaz, then was losing the whole fight to Kamaru Usman and got a knockout at the end. You can make all those arguments, yes, but I just think you gotta put him in C tier. I mean, he beat Usman twice. Usman's a pound for pound #1 fighter, and that second fight with Usman, that was probably the worst night he's ever going to have, and he still managed to beat Usman, so that says a lot. And I think Leon's only going to get better, but from where he is, I would put him at S tier, honestly. He's the champ, he earned his championship, defended his title. I say he's S tier. All right, next, Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen obviously recently suffering his loss to Max Holloway. Very close fight though, compared to other Max Holloway performances, like how he was with Calvin Kattar. Arnold Allen is good. He knocked out Dan Hooker in the first round, beat Calvin Kattar, but obviously that was a little bit of a dodgy fight because Calvin Kattar was injured going into that one. I would honestly like to see Yair versus Arnold Allen. That would be a fun fight to make. But yeah, Arnold Allen is one of those guys that hasn't necessarily proved himself yet, but I think is going to be really good in the future, and I think a lot of people are going to respect him a lot. I don't know if he could beat Volkanovski though. I don't know that, but I think he's definitely good. I think in a universe where there isn't a Max Holloway or an Alexander Volkanovski, he would definitely be up there for the top. And he's extremely well-rounded as well. He's a very quiet guy, so not a lot of people notice him, but he's got really good boxing. And yeah, but I think I'm gonna have to put him, I'm gonna have to put him in the A tier for Arnold. I was thinking about the B tier, but honestly, no, he had a pretty long win streak before he lost to Max Holloway, and even that fight, he won the last round despite getting dropped. And I just think, yeah, I think he's going to prove himself, especially in the future. Next up, Michael Bisping, the only other UFC champion from the UK. Yeah, obviously, Michael Bisping has had an incredible career, a UFC veteran, a legend, a Hall of Famer. The guy has had ups and downs in his career, definitely a lot more popular than he was when he was a fighter. He's way more popular now, but he did suffer a lot of those losses, like to Dan Henderson, to Luke Rockhold with that one-armed guillotine. And the guy, you know, had trouble, you know, kind of making it to the top, but eventually grinded his way through, broke in at an old age, beat Luke Rockhold on short notice, defended his title against Dan Henderson, obviously fought GSP and lost, but he did give GSP some problems, especially, you know, during the middle of that fight. Now, I've always thought that, you know, Michael Bisping is a little overrated nowadays. Like, look, I like Michael Bisping. I think he's a nice guy, but I don't think he's like an amazing fighter. Like, the fact that UFC 4 has him as a 5 stars is absolutely insane to me. I don't think he's 5 stars at any stage of his career, and I just think that his boxing is just, you know, kind of not very good. Like, he's just a tough guy. He's a good fighter, and I gotta put him in S tier. He was a champ. I gotta give it to him. Like I said, I like Michael Bisping. He's a veteran. He's beat the who's who. You gotta give it to him. He probably has the best resume out of anybody on this list, so you definitely gotta put him in S tier. All right, next up, Michael Venom Page, the only non-UFC fighter on here. I have said for a long time I want Michael Venom Page in the UFC because this guy is such an exciting fighter. Obviously, he has that karate style. Went to BKFC. He's normally in Bellator, and I just think that karate stance is just so interesting. It's such a unique style. We see Wonderboy also adopt that style to karate stance, a bladed sort of stance, and he's one of the most dangerous strikers in Bellator for sure. And I think he would definitely give a lot of problems to some strikers in the UFC, and that's why eventually I want to see him join the UFC, like how Michael Chandler did later in his career. I hope we get that with MVP, and maybe he just jumps to the top of the division, kind of like Michael Chandler did. I think that would be a really good find for the UFC. However, in terms of ranking him, I'm gonna put him in B tier, just because yes, he has lost to some guys. He's lost some guys in Bellator. He hasn't been in the UFC. I would put him at B tier for Bellator. All right, the final one is Tommy Aspinall. He's going to be fighting this weekend, the main event against Marcin Tybura. I'm going to be making a prediction later in the week for that. But for now, we're going to rank his skill, and the guy is really good, underrated. He obviously has good ground game. You know, he submitted Alexander Volkov in the first round and is coming off of a nasty ACL injury. But he also is a good boxer. He has good stand-up and good boxing. We saw he trained with Tyson Fury. He was a training partner of his. His boxing is legit, and I think he's going to give a lot of people problems with his head movement, with his fast hands, especially being in the heavyweight division. Probably one of the quickest hands in there, and he's a guy that I think could beat a Cyril Gane, and I said that before Cyril Gane lost to John Jones. I'm not sure, to be honest, but I think you would at least give him a challenge. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing him come back. I think he's one of the better prospects in the heavyweight division. I think they're just trying to give him this fight to help him win, get him back on track, and then maybe he fights a Curtis Blades in a rematch, or he fights a Cyril Gane, depending on how he does against Sergey Spivak, or maybe even Sergey Pavlovich. You never know. There's a UFC heavyweight title fight happening in November, and most likely both of those guys are going to retire after that fight. So I really wouldn't be surprised to see Tom Aspinall versus Sergey Pavlovich, or maybe Cyril Gane for the vacant title next year. But where am I going to put him? I'm going to put him in A tier. I think he's really good. I want to see him, you know, prove himself a little bit more, but we're going to see that, I think, very soon, and especially this weekend. Let's see how he does. Guys, this is my tier list. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about my tier list. I don't think there should be any objections here. Maybe some people want me to put Dan Hardy lower or higher, and maybe Jimmy Manua, they're going to say I'm put a little too high. I don't know. Maybe even MVP, they'll say I put too high. I don't know. I think this list is fair. I think it's good. I think this is a good list here. Guys, let me know in the comment section below, who is your favorite UK fighter? Like I said, in boxing, MMA, let me know in general. I'm just listing some MMA fighters. I'll do more tier list videos if you guys like this, so leave a like, comment, and share if you guys want to see more. Let me know in the comment section below, because tell me you want to see this more, because otherwise I won't know and I won't make it again. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one.